What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Card Talk Canada. Coleman's back as usual, and we've got a special guest this week. JayCollectibles is joining us. How are you doing, guys?
Good. I'm happy to be here.
Doing good. You know what? It's the new year. We are happy to be back on the pod, and we got a lot to talk about. We got a lot to go through, and it's going to be a great 2026.
Yeah, speaking of the new year, before we dive into a bit of Jay's story, what do you guys think is your hottest prediction for the 2026 hockey card market? Whether that's, who's going to be a breakout player, breakout product, best show, what do you got cooking up? In my opinion, I still believe, and maybe it's just some World Junior bias, but Anton Frondell, the Swedish center, drafted by the Chicago Blackhawks, is going to be a major player in 2026.
I will second that up. I'm going to go less into just what a player, but I'm actually going to talk about kind of overall what I think is going to happen. I think in 2026, the high-end market is going to be on fire still, and I don't think that the mid-tier and the lower-end market is going to do as well, but I think overall the market's going to be hot, and I think a lot of external money is going to start coming into the hockey side. We're seeing it now with more and more buyers from outside of North America, and I think that's something that in 2026 is going to be key market to kind of look at is externally outside of North America.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I think there's a lot to look forward to, starting with the Olympics. That'll help the market definitely jump up. Um, and then with FIFA too, I think FIFA will bring a lot of fans who don't even know soccer just into the sport, into other sports. And then I see a lot of upside in the soccer market too this year. And I think when one sport goes up in the hobby, others tend to follow, especially the higher end stuff. So I definitely agree with that one.
Speaking of the higher end stuff, I was talking to Nick about this week, and it's been interesting to me. We've seen a lot of guys winning on their big plays, and they're recycling that money back in. And there's been a lot of spending on Facebook recently. I've been seeing a ton of buying posts. People are constantly buying up cards, and I was been wondering how do you guys think that'll affect the market? Because in my eyes, is like if these guys are winning on their big cards and then they're cycling that money back into the lower stuff, it's going to start help holding that lower stuff and boosting it up the more that someone's trying to, make their flip on that lower stuff.
For sure. That's a good point when talking about a lot of reclassification of like the assets and that, especially when it comes the higher end, they're selling them off a little bit now because the market's so hot. They have all this influx of cash that they're able to do is spend on collections and stuff. So I think we're going to see a good amount of cash come running into the hobby, also from some big players selling some of their big cards to fund other purchases.
Yeah, no, for sure. Especially if you look at a market like Sid's. He's just been flying off, and his Young Gun PSA 10 from the summer, from July, from August has just skyrocketed. And so people are churning that profit, but also buying bigger cards with it.
Yeah.
So I think just the effect of all that will be a boom in the very near future. And we're seeing it on Facebook already, and we're going to keep on seeing it, I think, for the start of the year.
Another thing to kind of piggyback off that is in 2026, I think it's going to be a year for consolidation. I think a lot of people are going to want to be moving up from smaller cards into bigger cards and kind of putting all their money into maybe a couple baskets instead of having a bunch of lower end or mid end, maybe having a couple of higher end pieces. I think that's one thing that early in this year already, I've been seeing lots of people looking to trade up into things, looking to get bigger pieces and more value into their collection with less quantity. And I think it's something that I guess when the new year comes around, lots of people take a look at their hobby and their collection and where it's at and what kind of direction they want to go in the new year. And I think it's always a tough decision to make on what cards you want to focus on and what you may be willing to let go or move into other things.
And one thing too to add on is in December, what I've noticed in recent years is around Christmas and New Year's, market tends to go down a little bit because people are spending money on vacations or gifts, and there's not as much money going into the hobby. This December was probably the strongest December I've seen in this hobby in a very, very long time.
For sure. No, I agree with that. Normally, as you said, it's kind of like a cycle. You see it right around the Christmas time. People are looking to liquidate on stuff to get money for gifts, for holidays, for just for all of that comes along with the holiday season. And I think once people kind of get settled back into their routine in the new year and they start having less expenses of the gifts and all that and all the kind of extra stuff that comes along, I think more and more money is going to come back. And as you said, Jay, in December, the month was incredible as it was. There was tons of money flowing at shows. There was tons of opportunity to pick up stuff and sell stuff as well. And I think just going forward into January and February, I think it's just going to keep on ticking and keep moving as more and more people kind of want to get involved and get involved in different aspects of the hobby.
And I think the best way to see that is not even through Facebook, it's just through shows,
For
right?
sure.
December shows usually cool down a little bit. There were a lot of shows, and there was a lot of traffic in those shows.
For sure.
I'm actually interested to see if we will see a change in the amount of people ripping product, because I have a hot theory that I know breaking's been massive and tons of people are breaking all the biggest product, but I actually don't think that a lot of product is being ripped as much as it used to be, because some of the more recent rookie cards are seeing lower pop counts on their graded cards, which is also due to quality control. We have noticed the quality control's gone down. Some of the last versions of Future Watch Autos have had, foiling in the corner, which is limiting their PSA 10 counts. But the lower PSA 10 counts on some of these guys has been a reason that I'm under the impression that not as much product is getting ripped as there used to be. I think a lot of guys are just buying the cards outright and grading them, or buying them graded versus chasing the actual product. And I think it's actually just a select few people that are continuously ripping and funding the breakers and keeping the money moving that way. But so that's part of my one other hot take for 2026 is we might see less ripping.
The thing is, I definitely agree. And I mean, if you use the Series 1 as an example, the biggest hit in Series 1 was a Demidov Young Gun, right? That was the most wanted hit aside from the bigger outbursts and all that. A Demidov Young Gun now is, I think, around like 120, 150. I could be wrong, but a box costs more than the Young Gun now.
It's crazy.
Of Series 1. So unless you're going after, a gold outburst or, a high gloss, right? The bigger stuff, even if you get the best rookie, the best young gun, you're gonna break even, right? So I think that's why it's a lot of the consumers just like the upside on breaks, or especially the mixer breaks where you have a lot of different product to rip, right?
Well, I agree with that. And I think that a lot of people maybe are seeing that these boxes are getting so expensive. And maybe it, as you said, Jay, it doesn't correlate with what the prices of these cards are. And I think either one or two things has to change. Either the price of the cards has to go up and move with the boxes, or the boxes have to get cheaper. And I think that's on Upper Deck as a whole to kind of revisit their whole marketing strategy and selling strategy of looking at what price points attract the most people. And I think that you have to realize that a lot of people don't want to spend a couple $100s on a boxed open. And I feel like that, yes, there's great options with blasters and tins and all that. But I feel like having those more readily available and having maybe hobby boxes start a little cheaper. I don't know how to do that because I don't think it costs that much to actually produce these cards. I know there's tons of things like licensing and deals you have to do with players and stuff. But at the end of the day, I feel like as a hobby, since COVID, the prices have gotten, especially on wax, so high, where at some point I feel like we need to take a step back and think about why these prices are so high, because they can go back to where they were, if not a little bit more. And 100% things if inflation and rises and that. But with the increase that we've seen for wax, it's crazy. Like, look at the cup and what the cup cost. I don't know if you guys remember what it was before COVID times and that, and how easily available it was. Now the cup, it's hard to get, and it's hard to get at a good price.
The cup,
Yeah.
I think, is one of the standout products, though, that is getting ripped the most because it has the highest ceiling. There's
Well, and you look at
the higher chance of winning with the cup than they do with all the smaller products. Because like Series 1, it's Ivan Demidov or bust.
Mhm.
Nothing else is getting you into the green. And same with like SPA. SPA is a similar thing. In a raw young gun, it's Celebrini or bust. And maybe Hudson right now is still holding above the 300 cost of a box. That's where, like, yes, the cup is up, but I also think that the cup is up because Upper Deck noticed the trend that people were still buying the product after the first wave and they were willing to pay more. And that's part of it. Is we do know that the distributors are bumping the price way up on the second wave when it comes out. And that's affecting, and it's happening on every single product that comes out. Is the second wave is always like 14 to 20% boosted higher than what it's originally priced at, and that's what's just why it's sitting on the shelves at some shops.
for sure.
How much of the increase in the box prices, or I guess the lack of demand now for those boxes, do you think is the reason that the market is going up now for singles, right? I guess a lot of people are spending less now on those sealed boxes and ripping and just buying what they want.
For sure.
Right. So, Ultimate or Premier, Black Diamond, or what, $400 or $500 a box, right? Instead of ripping that, they're spending the money on a single of, Schaefer, Greek, or any of those big names. They're just buying the auto themselves.
Exactly.
It also helps though when the box prices are more expensive, is a lot of guys are just trying to get their money back. So on some of the non-main hits, so non-Celebrinis, people are trying to get their 250, 300 back for their Michikov Future Watch Auto, right? And they don't want to take less than that because, well, I paid this much for it. And so that's happening across on a lot of cards. But the biggest thing, like a Leo Carlson pop count on a Future Watch Auto 10 right now is 20. On Matthew Nyes is 30.
Crazy.
And typically it gets as high as like 60 to 150 for some guys. Like Jason Robertson, I'm pretty sure it's 150 is his PSA 10 pop count. And so to see these smaller guys have such a smaller number is, and we saw it happen with Leo, is as soon as his market got hot, there's more buyers, there's more supply than there was, or there was more demand than there was supply, and we saw it skyrocket instantly up to $1,000 for a PSA 10 from $600 card. And that's something that I think a lot of people aren't aware of, is how low some of these pop counts for some of these newer guys actually are in their graded versions.
Well, I think that's something to look at also with these prospects, is these guys who maybe haven't really had the best start or who haven't really shown the most potential, is if these pops are low and there's fans of theirs, as soon as they get hot, people are going to want them. And again, supply and demand, it's just going to drive the price up overall. And I think that's a great thing. But I also think we need to be looking at the quality control from Upper Deck and really prioritizing that going forward into new products.
100% agree there. We've gone right into the deep end with the deep dives and prediction talks, but let's take a little step back, talk about our man Jay. Jay is actually a new member of Juice, ended in the Q4. Juice Labs added Jay in because Jay is just a wonderful human to deal with, a great guy. And, we want the people to learn about you, Jay. How long have you been in the hobby?
When I was a kid, I collected, 15 years ago, 10 years ago, whatever. And then took a break. And then when COVID hit, I was super bored and I went to my basement and I had some of my older cards from when I first collected. And I picked out a Giannis second year from Select. And it's not worth as much today, but at the time, it was like around $200 for a second year card.
That's crazy.
And I put it up on eBay and I sold it the same day for $200. And it kind of kicked off a little addiction to cards. And I was like, wait, this is in my basement. I just made $200. Is there more? And so I kept digging through it. I didn't find much of value, but then I started going to shows and joining Facebook groups and Instagram, and then just kind of got attached to it. This was in 2020, and then here we are.
Do you have a card from that original childhood collection that you haven't sold, that like you'd never sell? Like it's just like your at-home PC of PCs. This one reminds me why I do this.
It's a good question. I don't think so, because I didn't have much of value.
It was just the Giannis that he sold real quick.
Yeah, like just the Giannis. I mean, I have 2012 Prism, or maybe 2013 Hockey. The very first year,
Oh, that's cool.
I have a lot of those base cards. Like a lot of those base cards. And like that's it. I think I may have sold them when I was younger, like at a garage sale or something. I don't know where a lot of them went. I definitely had more than what I had. That's for sure. But whatever I had left, there wasn't too much.
So funny. What about kind of, you said now coming into it full steam, and what is kind of your strategy and what do you like to do? Is hockey your main market? I know you like to do all sports. You kind of like to do all things. What is something, kind of give us a rundown of how your workings works and like what strategies you kind of use to get prepared for shows, get prepared for big events or selling online, and just kind of day to day of what you do for your work with the hobby.
Yeah, so I do every sport. I do every sport, including soccer and UFC, and I've had some golf, and I'm getting into Pokemon. Like I kind of like to do everything because I honestly I enjoy everything, and so a lot of times what I buy is something that I would, even if I can't sell it, I just enjoy holding it, So I buy to collect, but at the same time, there's obviously some profit to be made. So I essentially just only buy whatever I'd be, I don't buy stuff that I don't enjoy holding. essentially. And then that goes for like any show, big or small, any walk-ups to the table. It's just stuff that I enjoy, but it's also stuff that I don't really speculate on what it could be. If I do speculate and I'm prospecting or it's PC, then I hold it.
Yeah.
Right. And that's kind of a balance that I'm still to this day having a hard time with. Is sometimes you pick up a card and you want to hold it, but then you have some money tied up into it. So it was just a matter of experience and doing enough shows to this point where I have a good balance of that. But yeah, no, I do every sport and nothing too specific. As long as I like the card, I'll buy it.
Yeah, speaking of that, there's different ways that people are in the hobby. Some people are trying to collect all of their favorite player, collect this, because it makes them happy, buy this because it makes them happy, open packs because they love the rush. And some people are trying to make money. We know you've had some success with quick exponential growth. Like, what is if you're buying something for quick growth, and if someone were to go out to a show, they had $50 to their name, what's the best step? What would you recommend to someone who's going to a show to try and make money walking the floor, let's say?
First off, build relationships. Introduce yourself, and not even business relationships, just like a friend relationships. You don't have to buy off someone. You can just talk to them, because you'll make friends, and then eventually if they have a card that you want in the future, maybe they'll give you a better deal on it, right? But it's always like friendship first for me. I think for a lot of people, including you guys in this hobby, right? The friendship first, and then is the business. From a strict business perspective, the growth comes from not holding, essentially, and being committed to flipping. So if I buy a card today for 50 and it comps at 70, if someone offers me 60 or 65, I'll take that offer and I'll keep on churning it, because then what happens if the next sale is 40? Then I'm taking a loss, right? So it's very important that sometimes your first offer is your best offer. Not always, right? But it's very important to keep that churning. And even if you can't sell something and the comps go down, take a loss. Take a loss, because you can do, if the card you bought for 50 is now worth 40, you can do a lot more with that 40 than you can having to wait for the card to go back up.
Very true. And agree.
That's one thing that I struggle with. I don't know about you, Coleman, but like holding a card for too long, or like, I'm in the red now, it's comped low, what do I do?
Just ignore the comp.
Comps lie.
No, but seriously, and that's the thing. You have to find the balance of being able to take losses on cards where there's no point in holding them. And it's just, there's time to move on from a card and there's time to put it into something else. You can make that percentage loss hypothetically back way quicker, just like Jay said, than you can waiting for that card. Because who knows, maybe the next comp after that's going to be 30. Now we're so much further away from that original price. So I think, again, what Jay said, and I know it's something that I like to focus on, and it's something I'm not great at, but I'm trying to work, is once getting inventory in, get it out as quickly as possible. Keep everything within a 30-day window, try and rotate it quickly. And of course, there's going to be cards where you're like, okay, I'm not in a rush to move it. That's fine. And that's okay to have those pieces. But I feel like always having that constant flow of cash flow in and out and being able to always make moves is something that's very important.
And one thing too is, I think a lot of people are gonna be on my side with this. It's not always about the comps, right?
No.
It's not always about comps. If I have a 1 of 1, or I have a gold out of 10, or have a big sit or a big OV, even if it's $100 OV, if it's a big name and it's a card that I think is worth this much, it's not always about the comps. And so that's another tip for someone who's just starting off at a show, is sometimes there's a lot of undervalued cards out there that have comps that, from my experience in this hobby for so many years, I know that I can get more than comp for this card.
For sure.
Right. So you have to balance that, but it's just something that comes with time. But having to know, I guess, exactly what a card is worth, you don't necessarily need comps, right?
Speaking of that, in your experience, is there a way to, gain that knowledge of like what's selling where, how it's selling without actually buying any cards? Like, what's the best way to do research on cards? How do you do your research?
Without comps?
Well, not necessarily without comps, but like without physically, because a lot of times, like, until you buy a card, that's when you'll know exactly what people are willing to offer it to you. Because, we don't get to see what people are offering on an eBay card that is listed at $1 million, but we all know it's not worth $1 million, right?
Yeah.
But we don't know what people are offering. What's your best thoughts on how to learn about what cards are worth without having to, you know, actually invest the money into it?
I think it's two things. I think number one, that's why building a relationship is very important, right? Because I'm thankful and I'm blessed to know a lot of people in this hobby that if I need advice with a card, I'll shoot them a picture. I'll be like, hey, what do you think this card is worth? Help me out with this card, you know, or maybe do you have a buyer for this card? Right. So that all comes with time. And the other thing too, I think, is just experience. It's just owning that card, or owning that player's similar card, or, you know, similar card of that player. It just comes with time, right? If it's your very first show, it's your very first day, it's not easy. Okay.
Mhm.
You're going to struggle. You're going to struggle to make money. You're going to struggle to buy with relationships. But over time, and as you own different cards and different sets, whether it's a low number, a high number, auto, sticker auto, you'll learn, you know. So it's best to always be motivated, because in the long run, you'll be successful as long as you're willing to learn.
No, exactly. And I think another thing, just to build off of Jay, is that mistakes are going to happen when you're
For
buying
sure.
a card, when you're valuing a card, and it's going to happen. And the only thing you can do is learn from it and move on and make the money back or make up for it on the next card, the next buy. And one thing that I always like to think, and you're not making money on the sale when you sell it. You're making money on when you're buying it. So make sure you're getting things at a price you know you can make good profit on, good margin. And you always have to realize that cards are very volatile. Some days, especially with prospects for that, they can be so high, then so low, then back up. And it's something that you have to be aware of when purchasing. And we always talk about it right off the release. Product is hot and prices go crazy, and they're eventually going to come back down and settle somewhere.
And one thing too is you have to be willing to take a risk.
For sure.
Like, I would say, without exaggerating, maybe like 30-40% of what I buy is like no comps or old comps. And it's just me taking a risk on what I think this card is worth. If you're not willing to take a risk, you won't be as successful as those who are. Right. And now some people don't have as much of a risk tolerance, and that's fine. So you can stay with the safer cards. But the cards that have the most upside are the riskier ones.
Would you say, I know you've had experience, you've submitted a lot through Slab Sharks, and so that's part of taking a risk, is what will a card do on the live auction? Because
Yeah.
you're just hoping that your buyer is someone that's going to see it that week and, you know, make that happen. So what would be some of your strategies when you do take that risk to like limit the risk? Obviously you can't get it to zero, but limit that risk as much as possible, whether that's submit more cards so that you have enough winners and losers and it balances out. What would be some of your thoughts around Slab Sharks tips and tricks, and your thoughts on Slab Sharks in general?
I mean, I think Slab Sharks is amazing. To have a local company like that who has such a big platform on eBay. eBay is the best platform out there in the world for a lot of things, especially sports cards, right? And so to have them 30-minute drive for me, I can drop off cards at any point, get sold on a Thursday, but the next Tuesday get paid already, right? That's amazing. To balance the risk, it's just you have to I would just send multiples, right? Because then some you're going to win, some you might lose. But as long as you average out, then it's a win-win, right? So
Yeah.
you have to kind of find that balance and just be willing to take that risk.
So when you submit, you would look at it more as my in and out cost of a Slab Shark submission, and not my in and out cost of each individual card that was in that submission. You look at it as a whole.
That's right. That's right. And
Smart.
I have a similar viewpoint on like shows too. I have a similar viewpoint on pretty much most transactions I do, right? If you take like a month of November, right? I take losses on cards. Everyone does. But I take wins on cards too. So if you look at like the overall month, right? As long as you're up overall, it's fine. You will lose money on cards and you will make money on cards. So whether you do it through Slab Sharks or shows or Facebook, as long as you're up overall, and I recommend to those who don't to have a spreadsheet that's, you know, up to date and that you can follow, because it'll really help you track, see where you went wrong, see where you didn't go wrong. But you'll make mistakes, and that's fine.
This conversation has really like reminded me to like be okay with taking losses. And then I put in an analogy in my head. It's like, you think about like the NHL GMs out there. How many of them have 100% win rate?
None.
None.
A lot of these guys are working at like a 20% win rate with the players that they bring in, the contracts that they give out. And so like, these guys get paid millions of dollars. So we don't have to be that 100%, and we can.
It's impossible to always win. In any industry you're in, it's impossible.
For sure.
I might be making a sales post right after this.
Just do it. Just do it. Just sell it.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Speaking of kind of upcoming in the new year, I know Jay, we were talking about this a little bit before, and Adrian, but the CSC Expo event show, it's going to be at the International Center. It is being run by both CSC and Expo. It's supposed to be a great event. I don't know what you guys want to talk about on it or get some opinions on it. Jay, do you know much about it? Are you ready for it? What are you thinking about it?
Yeah,
Really?
I'll be set up there. I'm pretty excited. I think the fact that they're working with the expo organizers will go a very long way. And I like how it's only one hall. So it's almost condensed to like the best dealers essentially.
For sure.
Right. And you're gonna have hopefully people travel in the way they do for the expo. Now they might not, everyone might not. Hopefully there's a decent amount of traffic. When you have a lot of traffic in a condensed area versus 3 halls,
For sure.
right? I think everyone benefits.
Yeah. Well, what I can tell you, Jay, is I have confirmation from at least 4 US clients who are flying up for it and who are very excited about it.
Amazing.
And finally come up. So they're all excited. And I think just by the people who we've talked to about who's attending and who's going, it's gonna be, I think it'll be a very good show filled with lots of sports cards. And I know they're gonna have a separate little area for Pokemon, BCG as well. I think overall it's gonna be a great weekend filled with lots of kind of opportunity, as you said, Jay, a lot of opportunity to network and talk to many great dealers that are going to be there. Adrian, I know sadly you're not going to be able to attend the expo, but do you have any thoughts on it or anything that you're kind of thinking about going towards it?
I'm hopeful. I really hope that you guys have a great show. I hope it's a great turnout. I know that the biggest struggle we've been finding in the GTA for shows is the amount of foot traffic. There's a ton of shows, but they're not getting a lot of foot traffic because it's the same vendors setting up. It's the same guys that are coming and walking the floor. And, at some point, we know everybody that's going to be walking the floor because we've seen them so many times. We communicate with them all the time. We see them on Facebook. We see them here and there. There's no need for everyone to go to every show all the time. So hopefully this one, yes, being at the International Center, one big hall, will get more turnout, have people traveling in, get a few more people to show up. I hope that the expo being a part of it will help pull in that bigger crowd. I'm glad to see that Canadian Sports Cards, which is collect like CSC, that's what they stand for, Canadian Sports Cards, right?
Yeah.
I hope that this will help them build up back up their sport card name because the last couple of shows have been 95% Pokemon, but your CSC, like running these shows, like I know that that's where the traffic is, that's where the money is. You got to go and do what you got to do, but would love to see them get that more effort into the sports card side of things. So hopefully this is a step in the right direction that they can keep it moving.
Yeah, and the best part about the expo is the people that they bring in, both vendors and dealers. I wanted to talk about the expo too is the timing of it, is right during the Olympics. I think Olympics start like February 12th, if I'm not
think right around
mistaken, with Team Canada. Expo, I believe, is 13 to 15.
Yes.
Right. So I think it'll have a very strong hockey presence, both buyers and sellers during that time. Right. You guys talked about it on previous podcasts this last expo in November. The Macklin boost and the Bedard boost and the Leo Carlson boost from the Thursday to the Sunday was absurd. Just absurd.
You could have made so much money just by buying all 3 of those guys on Thursday and holding.
Macklin Young Gun that I sold on Thursday for $180 were like 300 by the Sunday. Right. So now to have the Olympics with every single elite player in the world playing during those 3 expo days,
it's going to be wild.
if someone has a hat trick or someone, has a shutout, like it's just, I think the hockey during that expo is going to explode. So a tip to anyone watching, if you have any hockey, make sure you bring it, whether to buy, to sell. If you don't have a lot, I would recommend it if you're attending that show because I think hockey will go insane.
I think it's going to be such an opportunity, especially for maybe players who aren't supposed to be stars on their country. But I think if they have a great tournament, they start playing well, people are going to be looking to pick those guys up at the expo. People are going to be like, wow, I just watched this guy. He's so good. Why don't I go buy his cards? So I think that's another opportunity for that. And I think that there's going to be lots of people. I think
there's a few different roster decisions that are different for like the hobby sake of like, this guy's not really going to move the needle. And it's like, if they took someone younger, it would have way more effects on the hobby. But like Sweden, surprise pick, Pontus Holmberg made the team. What in the world is going on? Did USA taking Brock Nelson and JT Miller over Cole Caulfield, like, and Lane Hudson even over Noah Hannafin over Lane Hudson. Like if Lane Hudson
Jason
made the
Robertson.
USA team, the numbers would have gone crazy. Jason Robertson, numbers would have gone crazy. Like, but when they take the older guys, their numbers aren't really going to see as much growth. Like I'm not sure if Bo Horvat's numbers might move, but they all could go different if they would have taken these younger guys. The biggest one being Macklin's market. What's going to happen if Macklin comes out point per game? His market's going to go insane.
Well, his prices already. I've seen Young Gun 10s hitting almost $2,000. I think that's something crazy because they weren't that expensive around Expo, and you could find them for what, under 1,000 time?
Yeah, like $700.
The thing too to watch out for is like if there's an upset too. So if like Finland beats the USA in a game and like Rantanen has a hat trick or a 5-point night, 4-point night, or someone's playing Team Canada and then they pop off and get like 4 or 5 points, and that player's market will explode. It is the biggest stage in the world, right? For sports, especially hockey. So I think something to definitely watch out for in terms of snubs. My guy Sam Bennett, for those who don't know, IPC Florida.
That's tough.
Very disappointing. Back-to-back Stanley Cups. He just won the Conn Smythe. He was in the Four Nations in February. He was scratched the first game or two, and then he played, and then he was noticeable. I think he fought Hagel, if I'm not mistaken. Like, he really showed up, and to get him to not have him on that roster is pretty frustrating as someone who's cheering for the country and a Panthers fan, but you never know. The roster now is probably not going to be the same roster. There's always injuries and whatnot, so we'll see what happens, but hopefully he's up there on the injury replacement list.
I think it's going to be a great time for the hobby, and I think on more of a world stage, I think there's going to be a lot more eyes on hockey, and I think it's going to be a really good opportunity for it.
Next week, some of the Juice boys are making a trip out to Ottawa to go see Coleman, hang out for the weekend, and make it out to the Capital City Trade Show. So we're very excited for that. Coleman's stomping grounds. We've been out once before, Coleman, but it's been really hot, you said, this past winter. Really busy on a consistent basis.
Yeah, the shows have been really good. Lots of people coming through, lots of opportunities to buy and sell, and I think we're going to make a good weekend out of it. We're going to hit the Sens game. We're going to do a bunch of good things. So get ready for lots of content about that. And, if anyone wants to sell during that time to Juice, or let us know. We'll be kind of going around Ottawa and getting ready for the show on Sunday. So, Adrian, anything you want to touch on for that? Is there anything you're looking for while you're down here? Is there anything you want to see?
I don't necessarily know if I'm looking for any cards in particular. I'm currently on the fence about Austin Matthews. I'm trying to decide if he's about to kick it into a new gear or if he's still playing with this injury that I think he has. So that's kind of what I've been debating. So if I can find some nice Austin at a good price, I think I might take a chance again. But otherwise, I'm just super excited, come hang out with you and Luca and hang out with pop by and see our friends at Cap City, go check out their office. And then maybe pop in. I think talking to Loud Collector this morning, they're going to be at the Ottawa game, so we might go grab dinner with them. It should be a good time. Unfortunately, Jay's got prior commitments and he can't make it because the Sens are playing Florida that night. But
I think the Sens are going to get demolished that night, but we'll see.
They probably will.
G's going to be, so mad after that game. I know how it's going to go for sure.
So you're suggesting I pack a Panthers jersey just for the game?
Sure. 100% you should.
Okay. I'll make sure that I have that in my bag. The one thing to wrap up this episode, we got to talk about the new OVO Hockey Canada collab. We saw these pop up and a few of us were interested and we made the decision to give it a chance.
You guys made that decision to buy those. Not me. This is crazy.
We did, but at first glance, we thought it was a great decision. We thought these were going to be sealed product. And we'd get, a good chance at holding something long-term. Holding anything short print, Wayne Gretzky, especially OVO collab, like that just seems like a great no-brainer long-term investment. The one surprise for us when they arrived was they did not arrive sealed.
Tough.
They showed up in a Ziploc bag, literally like this, in a Ziploc bag. The box itself is not sealed. It's just a little magnetic open. And inside, your cards are in a plastic pack. So you can see the hit on the back. I didn't hit a 1 of 1. I'm very sad, but we did joke when we first bought these. Nick said in our group chat, screw a 1 of 1. I want the 99 out of 99. And what happened? Mr. J found the goodie.
What?
99 out of 99 Wayne Gretzky.
That's crazy.
Basically, it is a one-of-one, basically.
A101.
Aside from the main autos, this is like the next best hit.
That's the chase.
I also bought it with the same intent as you did, Adrian. I was just gonna hold them, sealed long term, because once they sell out, especially if the autos don't surface, I think the values could have gone up, but obviously they weren't sealed. So ripped it open, got super lucky, and yeah, it's no auto, but still a jersey number.
It's still a nice card. We haven't seen too many pop up on eBay just yet. There's been a few comps, so it'll be interesting to see where these end up landing, because it seems like a lot of them have been bought pretty quickly when they do pop up. So it'll be interesting to see, because it was a print run of 600. So all the reds are basically out of 600 without numbered. Then you have your blacks out of 99, and then you'll have one auto of each legend, one of one sticker auto.
They are sticker, which sucks though.
Yeah, but it is a good short print run. Not going to be a lot of them, which is what we love to see. So it'll be interesting. Maybe I'll send a couple for grading just for the fun of it.
No.
There was a Gretzky and Drake collab before where they made just a single of Gretzky, and those sold out fast, and the resale market on those have skyrocketed. So it doesn't happen very often, which is why I'd like the long-term aspect of it. But we'll see where it goes. If maybe they decide to do other series or other sets, or if this is just a one-off. If this is just the only set of these Team Canada cards with Drake, then who knows where the long-term value will stand.
It'll be crazy. Yeah, and you guys, if any of you guys listening want some, they're still available on OVO's website. Go check that out. Go buy some. Help these
still
guys.
are, and the autos haven't surfaced yet, as far as I know.
Sell them out. Sell them out of the OVO. The prices will jump.
That's right. Take your shot.
Take your shot. Order 50 maybe. You'd have good odds. Good odds at that.
It is a 1 in 100 chance of getting a one of one auto. So there is upside.
100.
Do you think if you ordered 100, you would get at least one 101?
Only one way to find out.
The only one way to find out. Like that's the thing. They're not sealed, so technically the shipping employees could, they could know what they're doing, what they're sending. Like it's not a sealed product. So that's where I'm like, someone dropped the ball here. Either they got lazy, they were doing this quick, they just wanted to get it out, pump it out, or they were trying to fight against the resale market.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing I could think of with their decision to not make it sealed.
The thing is too, it is Upper Deck licensed, so you would think Upper Deck would have some kind of regulation, towards this, or somehow monitor the way that these cards are being given out, to have a clear pack and zero seal. A lot of the packs actually came open.
Really?
The tops are already pretty much half open or very, very loose. So
That's
very
crazy.
interesting how they did it. I think someone for sure dropped the ball, made a mistake. I'm not sure if this is how they planned it to go, but
I definitely think it was something that was quick. I think this was a quick decision building up to Olympics, hype's there, and they're like, oh, why aren't we doing anything? Let's do it. And then they just turned it out real quick. That would make sense as to why it was sticker auto. They just grab any sticker auto from these legends that they're holding on to, slap it on, and keep it moving.
For sure.
But thank you guys for joining us for another great show, Jay. I hope we will have you again on soon.
Thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Maybe a live one next time around
Sure.
Expo. We'll do it live.
Sure.
Yeah.
No, thank you, Jay. And
thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Hope 2026 is absolutely amazing for everyone.
The other big news for everyone listening, if you're listening on Spotify, we are now live on YouTube. All our episodes are on YouTube, going on YouTube Shorts as well. So be sure to check us out on YouTube as well. Instagram. Jay, where can they find you on Instagram?
Instagram, JayCollectibles18.
Perfect.
Phenomenal.
Thank you, everyone.